Good morning. It's Tamika Chambers with Create a Generational Love Cycle, where we examine the thoughts that have created this generational cycle of pain. And I'm not talking about just physical pain, I'm talking about where we are projecting unhealthy habits, our pain on others, bullying, domestic violence, elderly neglect and violence, child abuse. Where we want people to live our lives, where we are holding on to a lot of regret, and we're trying to, as adults, push our children to live out our unsuccessful dreams, where we there's so much going on, where we have where I just demystify myths regarding nutrition and regarding fulfilling your divine purpose, which I shared a couple of weeks ago, or probably even last week, where our purpose is not just this specific life work that we do, but it is accumulation of our thoughts and our actions in every aspect of our lives. How we spend our money, how we care for our children, how we care for ourselves, the foods that we eat, all impact doing our work here on earth. And so, whatever role that may be, a teacher, a child, and to an adult, a parent, whatever role that may be, working for agencies, businesses, being an entrepreneur, we take into consideration every aspect of our life, and we focus on trying to achieve and sustain overall health, financial health, mental health, spiritual health, social health, all of those aspects. So it's not just one thing we're doing. We have to remember, even as parents, that our children are here and we are their spiritual guardians to help them achieve their purpose in life. And they are, by doing that, we actually help achieve our purpose and sustain our purpose in life. So it is a win-win because we're talking about relationships. That is the foundation of who we are and what we're here to do. Our creator believes in family. If he didn't, or if it didn't, we wouldn't be here. When we think about animals and, bears, wolves, and birds, raising children, raising lions, raising raising birds. And don't ask me about the individual names for the babies. My son would probably know more of that, but you get what I'm talking about, right? And so, even if you don't have children, your family is you. Even if it's you and your spouse, that's your family. Whatever you decide to do, that is it. And we are here. No matter what we do, we have a direct and indirect impact on others, on their lives, right? And so lately I've been talking about seeds that we plant, which is on Wednesday, about how we basically change those seeds within ourselves, change what we've been growing, especially if it's harmful, and how we're impacting and sowing seeds in our children in the next generation, right? And if you're caring for children, sowing seeds that will help them to live their best lives. Healing from the inside out is something that came out of Fridays, in Oregon. I just noticed that, Fridays was the day that the trash collectors would come and they would take the trash. It'd be 2 days a week. But Fridays, I thought, the end of the week, a day that we can actually take out or remove those unhealthy thoughts that keep us in victimship, where we see ourselves as a victim, and keep us from really cultivating our potential, those gifts and talents that we have, and actually using our experiences to intertwine with all that, and to really be the best person we could be and do the work that we're here to do. So I didn't name it, this podcast, Break the Generational Cycle of Pain, because just like Mother Teresa, we don't want to focus on war. We want to focus on peace, what it is that we really want out of this. And I thought, we are made from love. I believe that. I believe we have the definition of love that I have, much of it I retrieved from, or obtained from the Bible in the book of Corinthians. But also, too, I believe that we're here to nourish, to embody, to nourish, and to express love through our gifts, our talents, in the roles that we are here to do. And unfortunately, that there's this generational cycle of pain where people are don't know or don't want to know how to heal from the inside out, until they realize, I need to change. I need to do something different. And we all get to that point where we're doing something and we feel like I need to change, do something different. So I've been talking about emotions such as jealousy and anger. And one of them, that is really core to, um, experiencing anything potentially traumatic, whether it's abuse in any form, domestic violence, child abuse, elderly abuse. When you think about post traumatic stress, when you think about just, even things like failing a test or not passing a test, when you think about my, was talking today with my son, and we were talking about, him leaving his school, the school that he was into. He spent approximately about 3 months or so in this school, but he knew that this is not the way school is supposed to be. And he's shared before that, Mom, when I left, I felt bad, for the other students because they still had to be around that. But, he said something to me today. He said, if I can, I wrote it down, but he said that, no, this is your life. He was speaking to himself. This is his self talk. This is your life, not theirs. And that's so critical to often the guilt that we can have, survivor's guilt. And I was talking to my son about that, where you feel bad, you blame yourself because you left, because you did not, stay around that. And I had that too as well, blaming myself for not dating certain guys, even wondering why I allow certain things to happen to me. The experience I had in the dark wilderness as a child that I've also talked about, that guilt that you cannot take things back. Even if in hindsight you wish you had done things differently, or question yourself, how did I get involved in that? What happened? What was my mindset? And the shoulda, coulda, wouldas often come in when I'm talking to, when I'm talking about the past. Often we'll say that I should have, I could have done better, I should have done this, I would have done this if I had known. And the thing is, one day at a clinic, a nurse practitioner has said to me, we were talking about parenting, and she said, basically what someone else has said, if they had knew better, they probably would have done better. And when I think about new, I think about what I've also talked about of being conscious or spiritual awakening. If people really knew, if they were conscious of what they were doing, they really knew that we all are one, and what you do to another, you have first done to yourself. If they really knew the consequences of their actions spiritually, mentally, physically, the guilt that they can even have, if they really knew that, would they have done what they have done, what they did? Would they have done that? So when we think about guilt goes in where you feel like you have violated some type of law, or you feel like, you violated some type of offense. Sometimes when we are hurting, we can hurt others. We can project our pain on others consciously and unconsciously through the words that we speak or don't speak, and the actions that we do as well as we don't do. That can actually play a role in not only our own guilt, but the guilt on others. And so, you again passing the clients that I've had with student nurses not passing their test, their NCLEX exam, and the guilt that they have, and often how it deters them from really focusing on that next chance. Getting focused and really learning from that experience. And so, there again, many experiences if not all, you can have some form of guilt. Guilt can come knocking on your door and say you should have, you could have, why didn't you do better? Why did you not know? You're 50 years old, you're 60 years old, you should know better. Whether it's yelling at our children or not giving them the nutrition that they need, they become overweight, or us becoming overweight as adults. Certain practices and being in certain relationships. There are so many avenues of facing guilt, of really allowing that to sow within you, whether it's through your own sowing, or it's through others sowing that seed and you actually taking it in. Because no matter what, whether it's through your actions or another, we take in that information. We are the ones that grab that information. And so even when I think about healing from that, one of the things my mother told me, and I use my mother's principles for a lot. I made a devotion off of that, a devotional manuscript that I'm looking for representation, but I made a devotion off that because I felt like her words were not only cleansing to my outside environment, but also on the inside. They were spiritual cleansing to me. And one of the things that she said is, she said, live another day. You never know what tomorrow may bring. And she actually said that a couple of days. And in those words, you have hope. There was hope. I had hope that if I just live to see another day, how many times do we get down on ourselves and say, I can't face life. I can't face my children. I can't face my employees. I can't face whoever it may be because of what I did. But if you just live another day, because often we don't know another person's story until we actually sit down with them, until one day they decide, hey, I just want to let you know something. What you've been through, what you said to me was so empowering, because guess what? That's my story, or that's my daughter's story, or that's my cousin's story, whatever it may be. Often we don't know. And I had a client when I was doing health coaching in Ohio, and she said, Tamika, why people don't tell you, all these positive things about you. And you're over here thinking I'm just this horrible person. And I thought, you're right about that. It would be nice for people to tell you, but I want you to take that in consideration, that you don't know everyone's story, and you have to think positive about yourself. Something I continually tell my children when they ask me, Mom, what do you think about this? I ask them, what do you think? What are your thoughts? How do you think you look? Do you love yourself? Because no matter whatever someone does or says or doesn't say or doesn't do, it all comes from them, because out of the heart, the mouth speaks, and out of the heart, the issues of life flows, right? So our actions and our words are often a reflection of where we are at that given state. And that's the reason why guilt, often will blame people, but it's where they were. Whatever happened, whatever they took on, whatever they sowed inside themselves, that state is what happened. And that's why, I go away from labels, because labeling a person is basically saying, this is you, this will forever be you, versus that was you in that moment, or that was you for 10 years or 2 months or 3 months. It isn't who you are, because if we truly believe that we are a reflection, we are made in the image of our creator, we are spiritual beings, then we know that what they do is not so much who they are, but what they were going through at that time in their lives. And I think that's what helped me, part of it, to get past, to really, when I was young, and one of the persons who projected their pain on me was walking around our house. And I always thought, such a, he was, seemed so sad, so just kind of lost, if you will, such a great gift of artistry, but yet still so lost. And he said, if only my father was still here. And in that moment, God showed me his pain. In the moment of just fear and anger, why is he coming around? I was able to get a peek of his heart and his pain that he was going through. Does it excuse what he did? No. But the Bible encourages us to get understanding, to gain understanding, to really see what I believe Jesus did is he saw the hearts of men. So he wasn't about blaming, but more about cultivating the truth, right? So this world, we have so much guilt already. We don't need more guilt. There are too many people that are taken. One life taken is too many. One life saved is priceless. So there's too much. And if we really saw the commonalities, and this is for me, because what I say to you, I say to myself, if we saw the commonalities, then we did the differences, what kind of world would this be? So my mother told me to live another day. I have Bible verses that encourage you to persevere, that we don't look backwards. My mother, another thing she said is that move forward in life. After you accept the truth, then you can move forward. Guilt can keep us in the past. Guilt can lead us down dark alleys and literally dead ends. And we have to really assess our inner garden. And that's through, I was talking to another one, meditation. Why do I feel guilty? What thought seeds have I planted, allowed to be planted within me? Because when you know that you deserve better, when you know you are made in the image of your creator, that everything you need is within you. And it's a matter of pulling it out. It's a matter of expressing it. It's a matter of expressing love and kindness and joy and peace and the virtues of the spirit. When you know you don't have the power of timidity, if I can get it out, you have the power of self control and love. When you actually know who you are and what you stand for and have the conviction of your truth, you won't allow those guilt seeds to come into you. When people would say, hey, because you went through this, you should feel like this. And I said, no, not me. And I would mentally give that energy back to them. I wouldn't even give that energy back to them. Some I took in because it came out, but majority of the time as a child, and that's why I said, I have another manuscript, but back to being a child, thoughts of a child, back to basics. That much of our truths are within our childhood, and it's when we allow our experiences to fog up, to bury, to basically make our truths unavailable to us, from a talk that we can hear to a very light whisper that we can't hear. When we pull all this stuff up, when we remove all these harmful thoughts, we will hear that internal voice loud enough to know what it is that we need to do here on earth, fulfilling our divine purpose, healing from the inside out, creating a generational love cycle, and remembering who we are. Guilt is one of the I don't have to's. I don't have to live my life in guilt. I would tell my clients there is no guilt. If you become a student of your life, and that was a mindset I took when I was a girl, and I walked through my mother's garden, or my mother's plant filled front yard, is that I didn't want to use the word mistakes. Sounded so negative. I wanted life lessons. It was that in that moment that I became, around 10, 11, or 12, a student of life. If we are too busy learning, we're less likely to blame. Student of life, spending time with yourself, assessing, evaluating. We're in a rush society, and we have to spend time with ourselves because so much stuff is in our garden that we need to get rid of it. We need to pull it out. And we do it day by day, minute by minute, and becoming an observer of ourselves instead of a blamer. Live another day. You never know what tomorrow may bring. This is Tamika Chambers with Create a Generational Love Cycle. Hey, I relaunched my newsletter, Notes on Life, empowering you to be you. Definitely, I'll put a link in this podcast. Sign up. And as always, make this lifetime great because you still can.